Okay, when I was 17, I knew about the vampire community. I knew, like I said, I did research because when I had Awakened, it was a very scary world. I thought of everybody as food, and I was like, to me, that wasn't a good idea, and I always thought negative about it. But when I knew of the vampire community is because, I had friends within that time. I was too young to go to the gatherings, of course, because the gatherings were, for adult eyes only, which is understandable. So by the time I reached 18, I had met because at that time, at 18, I was still trying to get familiar with it, trying to get familiar that there was more like myself, and trying to get familiar with being around more vampires than myself. Now, when I was 19, that's when I was conducted into the vampire community and into the House of Queen. I didn't go to the gathering until I was in my mid-20s, but before I went to the gathering, I had gotten conducted when I was 19 during that time. So when I had gotten conducted during the fact that I was 19 years old, I was like, I'm going to go with it. Now, when I was given the name Prince Avir, he had stated, hey, that means son. You're my son within the vampire community. So I took that with great honor. Every time the guy was out of money, I had his back. Every time, not only was he out of money, I just had his back on everything. He could tell you one thing that I am, and that is a loyal person whenever it comes down to it. But I got screwed in the most harshest of ways. When I was in my mid-20s, like I said, I cared about the guy immensely. Hid secrets about him that he didn't want nobody to know. He did this whole thing to where he pretended his own suicide, and I don't know what was the purpose of doing that. Like, everybody else has this high standard about him, but as I learned when I was under him, is I couldn't be allowed to talk to nobody. Avir, she's mine. You don't talk to her. Understood. Avir, she's mine. You don't talk to her. Understood. And I would wonder, why are you threatening? I'm your son. I'm under you. His statement was, I know you, which I didn't understand that. When I was 26 years old, we had a ritual that was a blood bond ceremony. Now I'm gonna strip names off of who was within that ceremony, but that is who Quinn wanted me to be blood bonded with during the time to take me off of the hey girls, he's taken. I think that was his way of doing things. Now, me and Haven we saw each other in a romantic way, but it was a relationship that wasn't long lived at all. During the time, I'm dealing with Quinn, I'm making more enemies than I'm gaining more friends, because almost anybody he felt, threatened. It was, oh, you're out of the community. What made it worse is the fact that, you cannot sit here and you cannot label or put a slap on somebody and say, hey, son, will you do anything for me? And then you're just like, of course, I'll do anything for you. And all of a sudden, he forces his wife into bisexualism when he's straight the whole time, but he forces her into bisexualism. And then she gets mad at him. So he thinks, hey, let me go ahead and make it up to you. What do you want? So she says, oh, I want Avir. And out of the mix of all that, you didn't need to get me drunk to take advantage of me, because that's what the fuck happened. I could care less, and I'm going to say it right here and now. That's what happened. The whole issue is doing that to me and me waking up with what the hell happened. It's not a good feeling. I'm not stating that he was the one who did it, but I'm stating that he let her take advantage of me while I was just, and I don't care what people tell you. I don't care. Oh, were you erected? That's a stupid question. You got some masters out there, that think it's okay just because they're king of the house. And it made it more weird for me because that was his wife. He ended up getting upset at me for something he told me to do. And you're going to get upset with me and beat the crap out of her because you state that she's, quote unquote, saying, it's an ugly word to say, but really he was racist, a hidden racist. And during the time when I knew that I was under the rule of this guy who was a racist at most points, we went to places from Redlands, and the only people he seemed to have a problem with are the blacks, where he looked at them sideways. And of course, you're going to go ahead and cause trouble. They're going to go ahead and try to buckle you down. But during that time, I'm like, man, I'm getting enemies where I don't even know I should even have enemies. I don't even know these people. I could recall 2 solid people within that timeline that have helped me greatly. And that was Damien and my friend Jerry. Because during the time when we had a gathering in Hollywood, Quinn had left me in Hollywood just off my rails drunk. But yet he states that every vampire should stick together. And then Jerry, until he gets me in his car, drives around with me all night while Quinn's in the other room with 2 other women. I don't mind you having fun, man. I don't. But don't leave me outside vomiting on myself and just, I wasn't causing a problem. I just needed to go inside where I was safe. I'm out there. Anybody could take advantage of me out there while I'm intoxicated. Anybody could take my shit or steal from me. I'm glad that Jerry was there and he didn't let that happen. The whole issue was, this is where Quinn was with his wife and another woman that he wanted to seek within his life. And I was like, the whole thing was, like I said, I wasn't a ball buster, and I'm not gonna ruin anybody's buzz. I'm not gonna do it. However, you got a wife here. A great number of us knew it in the community that she was not bisexual, but for some reason it appeased Quinn to see her thirst after girls when that really wasn't her. I mean, you notice stale when you see her acting as a bisexual person. So everybody already knew that. And yeah, she gained a great amount of love from the community. And I agree. And you know what? And that's not bad. But it was very hard for me to see her as that. And the last talk I had with her was, whose choice was it when I was getting taken advantage of? Whose choice was that? Because I was completely drunk, and that did not happen on accident. That happened while Quinn was giving me drink after drink, and then peer pressuring me into drinking more. But the thing is, he pulled on this whole facade in front of my family, stating that you're a great guy. I'm going to take him to church. He's not going to, drink. I'm taking him to church. And yet it took me a while to understand why he got me drunk. It took me a while. Like, why would you get me intoxicated where I couldn't even stand? And the only reason why I know this is because when I talked to Cindy, it didn't even sound like she wanted to even do it from what she was stating. She was only doing it because he was ramming it in her head, like, you want to get me back, don't you? You want to get me back, don't you? And she was just like, okay, you know what? This is the person I want. It was, like I said, it was a weird situation for me. At that time, I just couldn't bring myself to forgive Quinn. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to tell everybody in the house. It was okay, because this was a whole thing. During the time I was dating a woman, that Quinn wanted. Quinn thought, hey, you know what? I let you do whatever to my girlfriend. Now I want my turn with yours. Wait a minute, we haven't talked in how many months, and now you're texting me. I ended up telling the community about it, and I ended up telling them that, because one day it scared me, because I had a call from one of my friends and wife during that time, and they're telling me he's going postal. He's going postal because I'm not talking to him. So I go back over there, and the whole time it was just an act to get me to go over there. So during the time he's lying to me, and I'm like, you know what? I can't take this anymore, and I'm leaving the house. And he approaches me, picks me up, tries to attack me by my neck, and at this time, he's like, fucking, I'm gonna kill you. And at this time, I'm like, whoa, so I ended up calling most of the people that were involved in the house, of course, and I ended up telling them, and all of a sudden, one by one started going, one by one, because they weren't happy. And it just wasn't worth it anymore.